Well, hi there. My name is Mr. Martinez, and in this Photoshop CC tutorial, I'm going to show you how to use the Lasso Tool and Selection Tools to get 3 images to collage into one. And I'm also using copyright-free images, so Creative Commons images, and I'll briefly talk about that as well. So the 3 images I'm going to be using, I found from Flickr. The one is Some Water by Avocado Girlfriend, Some Cute Puffins by Wen Zhang, and This Church by Paul Baika. So I've downloaded all the images. So I think I've downloaded the original sizes of all 3. So when I'm back in Photoshop, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open up that church. I'm going to click on that, open it up. So when I'm in Photoshop, one of the first things I like to do is save it as a Photoshop file. So Format, Photoshop, and this allows me to get all the layers, and if I make any changes, I can easily make changes. So church, final, save. I also like unlocking this layer, so it automatically defaults with a lock. I'm going to double click on that lock, hit OK, and that becomes unlocked. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use, there's some different tools you can use here. I'm going to use the Magic Wand tool. The Magic Wand tool is handy to select certain colors. So let's say I want to make the tolerance something like 75. Hit OK. When I have contiguous clicked, if I click once, it's going to select blues that are beside each other. Edit, undo. If I have this unselected and I click here, it's going to select all the blues. So if you notice that, it's also selected blues in here, blues down here, and I don't want these. If I don't want these selected, I can do something. If I want to add more, I can hold Shift and click again, and now it's got more blues selected. Now, I want to get precise. I don't want to delete the blues that are down here. I just wanted the blues in the sky. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to select the Lasso tool, click Option, hold my mouse down, and just make sure I'm not selecting anything within the church. I need to close that selection. Watch what happens. Those aren't highlighted anymore. Same here, this walkway, which is blue, I'm going to drag, holding Option down. I want to minus this out because I don't want that selected. Everything else looks pretty good. In and around here, that all looks good. Now I can hit delete on my keyboard, and those are all gone. I'm going to hit select, deselect. That way I don't have that shiny going on. I'm going to go back to my images, and now I want the water. So in Photoshop, I'm going to hit File, Open. I'm going to open up that image of the water I had, double click it, hit OK. With my arrow tool, I'm going to drag this right on. I'm going to select it and I'm going to drag it. Sorry, with that tool, I'm going to drag it, hold it, bring it up here, and drop it in here. I'm going to position it right at the top. But see how it's covering my church? That's okay. I just need to rearrange the layers here. I'm going to click and drag up, and there we go. Depending on what Photoshop version you have, the Move tool might look like an arrow. Okay, in Photoshop CC, it looks like this. In Photoshop CS6, it's an arrow. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Now I want to put in my cute little puffins. So I'm going to open up my puffin image. Same thing, I'm going to double click here to unlock the layer. Now I can use a different selection tool this time. I'm going to select the Quick Selection tool. The Quick Selection tool will select things that are similar. I can make the brush bigger by pressing the square brackets on my keyboard. And watch, I'm just going to click away, click here, and see how Photoshop can tell what I want. I want the legs there. And there we go. Now it selected these rocks here, so I don't really like that. I'm going to grab my magnifying glass and zoom in a little bit, clicking and dragging. I want to select that part of the feet. So I want to make sure with my selection tool, I'm going to select minus, make the brackets smaller. I don't want this rock selected. Do something like that. That's better. My magnifying glass. I can right click, fit on screen. That's a better selection of my puffins. Okay, looks like I'm missing a bit of the head too here. So I'm going to click once here and the beak. There we go. That looks better. Oh, and that part. Perfect. So now there's a few things I can do. I can hit edit, copy as well if I want to put it back in the church. And I can hit edit, paste. Now, those puffins look pretty big. So with my move tool, when I select these, I'm going to make sure that I have show transform controls. And I'm going to hold option on one of the corners and drag down because I want these puffins to be a little bit smaller. I'm going to let go of my mouse, let go of options, and I'm going to position them over here on the tree. Should be a little bit smaller like that. When I'm happy with it, I'll hit check mark. So there we go. Quick, easy tutorial on how to make a few selections, make things a bit smaller, transform them, and playing with our layers, always using Creative Commons images. And yeah, and that's it. And before you submit it, I usually like saving it as a JPEG. So we've saved it as a Photoshop file. JPEG is easier if you want to submit it. Church final JPEG. Church final. Save. Bump up the quality a little bit and hit OK. So now I have that image as a JPEG and a Photoshop file. But again, if I'm going to be sharing this online, I'd want to share the JPEG. Thanks for watching.